Let's do a quick contrast here. You know, Joe Biden, the most popular president ever, got 442 million votes or whatever. Most popular president in the history of the United States. Guy can't even spit out a coherent sentence. His son is selling blowhole paintings for $500,000 to potential Chinese buyers so they can influence and blackmail the Biden family later. But don't worry, he's the most popular president ever. 722 million votes. Everybody loves him. So let's look at a contrast. So here's President Trump. Shows up in Bedminster quickly. He shows up, President Trump, supposedly the most hated man in the history of humankind. Here is President Trump yesterday in Bedminster. Check this out. Now, here is Joe Biden, who got 2.7 trillion votes, the most popular POTUS ever in the history of humankind. Here's Joe Biden, the Scranton kid. He's supposed to be like a local lunch bucket Joe working man. He goes to a working town in Pennsylvania, Allentown. And here's the irony of this. The same number of people in that room to celebrate the appearance of President Trump, roughly the same amount of people show up for Joe Biden. The irony is they're all Trump supporters giving him the middle finger. But don't worry. He got 3.4 trillion votes. He's the most popular president in the history of humankind. There has been no more popular leader, monarch, dictator, president, prime minister ever in the history of humankind. He's more popular than Bashar Assad, who got 99.9% of the vote in the recent election. Joe Biden, 72 trillion votes, the most popular president ever. And here's Joe Biden, where he's supposed to be the most popular in Allentown. And again, the same amount of people show up. Ironically, it's the same type of people, Trump supporters, because Biden doesn't have any. Check this out. Now, you're probably like, Dan, if you're listening on audio specifically, did you get that wrong? The people are screaming Trump. No, I didn't get that wrong. They are screaming Trump at Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden's motorcade. You see the middle fingers, too? This is Joe Biden. 67 trillion votes. Most popular ever. Bashar Assad-like numbers. 99.962% of the vote. Joe Biden, most popular president ever in the history of humankind. Listen, on a serious note. Sorry. Didn't sleep too good last night. That's why I'm so pissy today. Seriously. This matters. You showing up on the corner, letting Biden know how you feel. It matters. Let me tell you a quick story. So back in the day when I was a Secret Service guy, I was in the motorcade section for a while of the president's detail. And when I was a new guy, President Bush at the time used to go back to his ranch. And there's only a couple of ways to get there without giving up any secrets to the ranch. And a bunch of Code Pinkers figured that out. Remember Code Pink, Sydney Sheehan?
Yep.
Was that her name, Sydney Sheehan? I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
It was a leftist group. They hated Bush and they were against the Iraq war. They just didn't, they wanted just to bring everybody home, which ironically I'm against it too, but they just didn't, it became about Bush personally. Now you may say to yourself after seeing that Biden video, oh, they don't pay attention to that. He's the president of the United States. Oh boy, I beg to differ. I can't tell you how many times, because there was only a few ways to get there, to the Bush ranch, these Code Pinkers figured out exactly where to stand so that Bush would have to see him. And because this is the United States of America, or used to be, I don't know what will happen to these protesters soon. You'll probably find yourself under investigation by the FBI for undocumented protesting or something. But back in the Bush days, we actually had a free country for a little while till he passed the Patriot Act and screwed that up too. But they figured out exactly where to stand on the road. And I can't tell you how many times in that car a couple of agents and staffers would kind of hint and nod like, hey, why don't we speed up a little bit when we go by those protesters? He really hates to see that. I can specifically remember another time leaving Walter Reed, driving to an LZ, a landing zone where we were going to get on a helicopter, Walter Reed in D.C., where Code Pink had figured out exactly where to stand as well. Exactly where to stand. So you had to, choke points, you had to pass them. I vividly remember a staffer and someone saying, hey, let's move the motorcade onto the other side of the street so he doesn't have to see these Code Pinkers. It drives him crazy. Why am I telling you that? Not to give up state secrets. They're not state secrets. There's nothing state or secret about it. It's to tell you that it matters. Don't think for a second Joe Biden didn't see what happened yesterday. And don't think for a second, he probably forgot it today because it's Joe Biden. He forgets he was even in Pennsylvania. He thinks he still is in Pennsylvania today. Are we in Pennsylvania? He doesn't even know. But believe me, when it happened, him and his staff saw it. And don't think for a second it doesn't matter. When you show up and peacefully protest and assemble like you have the God-given right to do, and you let them know your feelings, I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Those Code Pinkers got to him. And anyone telling you otherwise is lying to you and wasn't there. I was there in the car. Don't tell me what happened. I was there. Get the little elbow thing. Hey, you want to move over to the left? He's don't like to see these Code Pink people. You gonna tell me that didn't happen? I'm just making it up. Why? For PR so I can get a TV show? Or maybe I'll get a radio show? Maybe a podcast? It matters. Show up.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show.